Okay, welcome everybody to our fourth week of our Advent retreat. Wonderful to be with you, and hope that everybody's staying warm wherever you are. This week we have a theme. Well, it's not even just this week. I mean, this whole Advent season, but paying particular attention to the readings from last week and this week together of Be Not Afraid. Right. So this Sunday's reading, we've got this other version of the Annunciation story, this time to Joseph, and the same words, right, that the angel has told to Mary, that the angel tells to Zachariah, this be not afraid. And he initially resists that. And I think we can all understand why. Whenever someone tells me not to feel a particular way that I'm feeling in that moment, I can't help but feel what I'm feeling even more deeply, at least for a bit. Being told to feel one way or the other, it's not a helpful command ever. We are rarely, if ever, able to just turn off our emotions like a light switch. And so as the angel has visited Mary, Zachariah, Joseph, and told them this story or this line, makes me really wonder, is that the way that they heard that? Was it a command or was it something else? And what does it really mean, right? So looking at the word to be afraid, right, means to feel fear or anxiety. And that the definition of anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. So in all three of these stories, it seems like there's plenty to be afraid about, right? That makes sense. The angel appears to them out of the blue with a huge ask and shares that something new, something big, something they could never, ever imagine is about to happen. So sometimes even just newness in general causes us unease. And we can certainly relate with these stories. To be told not to be afraid when we're entering something completely new and unknown feels a bit unfair. So I wonder if it's less of a command and more of an invitation. I can imagine that rather than simply demanding that these people be not afraid, that perhaps the angel met them where they were at, maybe even acknowledged their fear, asked them to name it, and rather than suppress it, maybe the angel encouraged them to release their fear. We hear in 1 Peter to the invitation to cast all of our anxieties on the Lord because he cares for us. So perhaps within the invitation is a moment of opening, a chance to remember the amazing work that God has done in the hearts of so many people, right? And as a reminder to them to trust in that work that has already been done in the hearts of so many people. And then from there, the angel reminds Mary, reminds Joseph, reminds Zachariah, maybe even reminds us that God can also do amazing work in our hearts. But can we dare to dream? So tonight's practice will open our hips, often a place of holding for us, and encourage us to release anxiety rather than suppress it, and create a space to listen to the call of the Lord. So let's take a moment. We'll begin seated tonight. And we'll start with a new breath for us called box breath. Let's find our seat before we pay attention to a new breath and just feel where our breath is this evening. Take a moment to breathe in deeply And let it go. As you continue to breathe, take note of your sit bones. Feel your tailbone. Imagine it heavy, pulling you down towards the mat. Allow yourself to move your shoulders back just a bit so that you're in line with your hips. So often we are resting in seated position a bit forward. So lean back, create some space for your stomach. And feel grounded in your hips. And then imagine each vertebrae of your spine stacked on top of the neck like a beautiful puzzle. And as you bring attention to each vertebrae, allow yourself to sit a little taller. Check that your chin is parallel to the earth. That your eyes are not clenched, that your jaw is not clenched. And then we turn our focus to our breath. Where and how is it flowing in your body this evening? Can you find an even inhale and an even exhale? Breathing in from the bottom of your pelvis all the way up. And then exhaling all the way out, not leaving any air left. So that our inhale feels like a sense of release. And now, adding on to an even inhale and even exhale for box breath, we'll breathe in for a count of 4. Then we'll hold the breath for a count of 4. We'll exhale a count of 4. And then we hold on the exhale. So let's try that together. Breathe in for 4. 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4. 2, 1. Exhale 4. 3, 2, 1. Hold 4. 3, 2, 1. Again, breathe in. Hold. Exhale. And hold. Take 2 more on your own. When you complete that last hold, return to even inhale, even exhale. Then switch the cross on your legs. Begin with some gentle circles here. You can place your hands on your knees. Inhale, come forward, and exhale. Inhale, come forward, and exhale. One more this direction. And then switch sides. So lots to warm up our hips this evening. One more this direction. And come to center. Let's inhale, arms up over our head. And then exhale, right hand down, left arm up and over. Push down through your right hand. Let your left hip be heavy. And if it feels good on your neck, take your gaze up towards the ceiling. Let's exhale our left arm down and slowly inhale it back up. 2 more. Exhale it down. Inhale it up. Continue to lift through your torso. Back up. Come back to center. And then let's switch sides. Left hand down, right arm up and over. Gaze towards the ceiling. And then exhale down. And inhale. And exhale down. And inhale up. And last one. Exhale down. Inhale up and hold. Again, return to center. And take our right foot into your left hand. And just bring it back and forth here. If this isn't doing much for you, you want a deeper stretch, you're going to bring your foot into the crook of your elbow. That might really intensify on your IT band. Just gently rocking the baby. Back and forth, lubricating the hip joint. An option to stay here or take your hand back out to your foot. Make some big circles. You might want to put your right hand down as some leverage. Let your foot push into your hand, push back. One more. Try the other direction. Awareness back to your breath. And then from here, keep your left foot in and take your right leg out towards us. We'll turn our shoulders so that we're square over our right leg and inhale our arms up over our head. Exhale, reach forward with your heart 25%. We're going to take this slow. Inhale back up. Come forward 50%. Sometimes we want to get into the pose so fast. And then we get there and we maybe could have gone deeper. Let's come forward 75%. And back up. Now take your time. Come down into whatever 100% is going to look like. A part of growing in patience is about doing that with our body. As we see in the gospel tonight, Joseph first hears that Mary is with child. He makes this plan to divorce her quietly. And imagine that he made that plan pretty quickly. Maybe didn't have all the information. When we are feeling anxious, it is easy to do that. Settle in here to this posture. Let your hips reach back, let your heart reach forward, and give it some time. We hold things in our hips. It can take a long time to let them come to the surface, to let them release. You can always place a pillow or a block underneath either your knee that's out or your other knee. So 3 more breaths here. And before we release, just take note of where you ended up, where you started. Slowly release and back up. We'll place our left hand down on the ground underneath our left shoulder. Onto your left knee, stretch it out. Push your right foot into the ground. Push your hips forward. And roll your shoulder blades together just a bit. So this is not quite side plank as our hips are a bit more forward, but another version of it. One more breath in. And then exhale, release. Back to center. Let's bring both feet out in front of us. And pause here. Noticing what's happening in both hips. Sitting up nice and tall. And then bend your right knee. Place your right foot on the ground and then cross it over so it's on the outside of your left foot. Right hand comes to your tailbone. Inhale your left arm up. Exhale, twist. So left arm can come to your right knee, or maybe your elbow can come along the other side of it. Think about moving your right hip back just a bit. Then as you gaze over to the right, maybe you take your gaze all the way to your right shoulder, back of your spine. One more breath in. And slowly release. Come back to both legs extended. And then let's bring our right leg in. We'll rock the baby on the left side. So option to grab your foot with your right hand, or maybe place your foot in the crook of your elbow. See what each hip wants to do tonight. And if you encounter or come up against some real tightness, see if you can breathe through that space as opposed to constricting. Let's take those circles with the left foot leading the way. You decide how big or how small. And then let's go the other direction. Connect your breath with your movement. And let's release the left leg out straight, left toes pointed, right foot in towards your thigh. Then scooch this leg back a bit. Square your shoulders over your leg. And inhale your arms up. Exhale, come forward 25%. Inhale back up. Feel into your back body. Exhale, come forward 50%. Notice the sensations in your hip. Back up. This time 75%. Inhale, back up. And release down 100%. Tuning into how this side feels versus the other side. Thinking of your left hip still moving back. Squaring your shoulders. Even inhale and exhale. Just allow you to think a bit deeper. If that doesn't mean moving your torso closer to your leg, then deeper into your breath, deeper into your focus. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And slowly release. Take your time as you come out. Put your spine up. And then place your right hand underneath your right shoulder. Come up onto your right knee and lift your left arm up. Continue to move the hips forward as your left arm reaches back, shoulder blades roll together. And exhale. Come back down. And both legs out to center. Find a 90-degree angle here. Pause for a moment. And then bend your left knee. Bring your left foot either in this way or maybe cross it over onto the right side. Left arm comes behind, support you. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, twist. Continue to push through the heel on your right foot and on your left hand. See if you can lengthen your spine just a bit so that you're not all the way back here, but are tall. And then take the twist just a bit deeper. One more breath in. And slowly come back to center. Legs out in front of us. Let's inhale our arms up above our head. You can bend your knees as much as is comfortable here. And exhale, come forward 25%. Inhale back up. Come forward 50%. Back up. This time 75%. And up. And then come down for 100%. Your hands may connect at your peace fingers. Maybe they rest on your shins or your ankles. You can have your knees as bent as you need to. Allow your neck to be soft. Don't want our chin to our chest to cut off our circulation there. We want our neck to be restful. And as we stay in this forward fold, thinking of this invitation to be not afraid, what is the grace that you desire this evening? As you approach the last week of Advent, as we prepare our hearts, what is it that you desire? One more breath in. And exhale, release. Let's come back to center. Bring our legs in and transition into tabletop. After all that hip work, let's open up the spine a bit with some cat and cow. So spread your hands very wide, make a strong foundation. Knees hip distance apart. Inhale, drop the belly, touch the chest, roll your shoulders down your back, and then exhale, come into cat. Inhale, drop the belly, lift, and exhale, round the spine. Take two more on your own. Think about the way in which we express the desires of our heart and how a movement like this helps them to be a little bit malleable. Let's come to a neutral spine. We'll extend our right leg back. As you push down through your hands, hollow out your belly just a bit. Bring your belly button towards your spine. Then if you'd like, extend your left arm out. Reaching in opposite directions, feeling length. And then exhale, elbow to knee. Two more. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, elbow to knee. Last time. Inhale, reach and extend. And then exhale, elbow to knee. Left hand back to the mat. Right toes come down to the ground. Extend your right leg. Push down through your right heel. And then lift the right leg. Cross it over to the left side of your mat. Your toes come down to the earth. Then move your right hip forward. You can either stay here or bring some movement for a few breaths. Either find stillness and holding the right hip forward or rock back and forth. One more breath in. Exhale, return to right leg extended. Then bend your knee. And then reach back with your left hand and grab your foot if that feels good. If you don't want that kind of stretch in your shoulder, you can continue here. If you would like that stretch in your shoulder, kick your foot into your hand. See if you can open up through the chest just a bit as your foot reaches towards the ceiling. One more breath. And then exhale, release. Let's bring our right toes down to the ground. Circle your toes out to the right. Foot is flat, toes are pointed forward. Then from here, let's push back into child's pose. So you can come just to your forearms if that feels good. Or maybe it feels good to push all the way back. A one-legged child's pose here. If you're all the way down, you can flex your right toes towards you. If this is uncomfortable, you can take the original child's pose. And just opening up through our hamstring a bit. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then slowly release. Come back up and bring your right leg in, back into tabletop. Pause here for a moment. Push your toes into the mat, push your fingers and your palms into the mat. Flip your shoulders away from your ears. Bring your belly button in towards your spine. Take a breath in. Breath out. One more, breathe in. And let it go. Time we'll extend our left foot back. Dial your toes down. Lift your heel up towards the sky. Tip of your tummy again, nice and strong through your core. And then maybe extend your right arm. Inhale, reach and extend. And exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach and extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Breathe in. And exhale, elbow to knee. Place your right hand back on the mat. Extend your left toes. Left leg is straight and long. Push down through your heel. And push down through your hands as well. One more breath in. And then exhale, lift the left leg again, cross it over to the right, and bring your left hip forward. Option to stay in stillness, or to bring some movement as you rock your left hip forward. Feeling into all of the layers. One more breath. Bring your leg back out behind you, and we'll bend the left knee. You can reach back for your left foot. Use your left hand. Push down through your left hand as you kick your left foot into your right hand. 2 more breaths. And exhale. Release. Right hand comes back down to the ground. And left toes come out to the side, parallel to your knee. And from here into whatever version of child's pose. It might feel different on this side depending on this hip. So coming to forearms. The stretch will be less intense when you leave your chest forward. It's more intense on our hamstring as we begin to sit our hips. So find the place where you feel your edge, but you also feel a sense of ease. It is not always an easy place to find. Requires a lot of self-awareness, a lot of humility, just honesty with ourselves. That this is a place where I feel good and I don't want to go any further. One more breath in. And exhale. Walk back up to your tabletop. Bring your left leg, meet your right. Pause here, just as if we were in Tadasana, and we would reset our feet, check in with our breath. And now let's extend our right leg out behind us again, and this will bring it through to a low lunge. So as you bring it in, put it between your hands. And let's take a moment to find your low lunge. See how far away you want your front foot from your back knee. Bring your hands to your knee and lift your chest. Square your hips, so that often means moving the right hip back just a little bit. And let's inhale our arms up above our head. We'll take a slight back bend. Push down through your back foot, whether your toes are flat or tucked under. And then exhale, release your hands to heart center. Transition here into gate pose. So take your left toes and pivot them so that they're directly behind your left knee. Turn your hips towards the long side of your mat and then extend the right leg out. Right foot is as flat as it can be on the mat. Arms come out parallel. Breathe in. And then as we tip towards the right, let your hips shift towards the left. Right hand can rest gently on your leg, and left arm reaches up and over. Extension all along the left side. One more breath in. And then exhale, release back here. And we'll take half moon pose on our knee. So as we come down, left hand is going to come down to the ground. And then we'll lift our right foot, flex it. See if you can open up, stack the hips. Right hand reaches towards the sky, shoulders stack underneath each other. Stay here, or if you'd like to reach back and grab your foot, you can do that. Keep pushing your hips forward. Push down through your arm. One more breath in. And then exhale, release your leg. And we'll bring our foot down to the ground. Using our core, come back up through gate pose. And then we'll turn our shoulders and pivot our back foot and come into half splits. Fingers down to the mat or to blocks. Flex your right toes towards your face. Heart reaches forward. And feel elongation in your low back. As you set your hips. One more breath in. And then exhale, release. Back in towards our lunge. Place both hands on either side of your foot. Bring your foot back to meet your left. We'll extend our left leg out and then bring it through. Come on up. Screw your hips. Find where you'd like to be. We have a sense of grounding on the bottom, which allows us to lift our arms, come back, just into a slight back bend. Imagine the angel saying, "Be not afraid." Let your heart come forward. And then exhale. Release your arms down. We'll come into gate pose on this side, but I'm going to turn all the way so that I don't come back to you. So left leg extends out, standing on your right knee. Inhale, arms parallel to the earth. And then exhale, tip. Right arm comes up, left arm comes down towards your leg. Shift your hips over. One more breath in. Exhale, release. Come back to center. We'll take our right arm down towards the ground. Left arm up. And lift the left leg. As you push down to your right hand, stack your shoulders, stack your hips. And then if you like, you can reach back and grab your foot on this side. Feel that resistance as your hand is pulling your foot and your foot kicks into your hand. One more breath in. Exhale, release your foot down to the earth. Come back up through gate pose. And then we'll turn back towards the top of our mat for your hips. Come into half splits. Left toes flex towards your face. Heart reaches forward, hips lift back. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And exhale, we'll release. Bring your hands to the top of your mat. Step your left foot back. Let's take our knees wide, toes come to touch. Push back into child's pose. Allow your forehead to come to the mat. And let your hips be heavy. While we're here, first check back in with your breath. Notice what's happened to it as we've moved. Can you recapture your even inhale and even exhale? And after you reconnect with your breath, then reconnect with the grace that you asked for this evening. Imagine it in the depths of your heart and your breath just moving around it, helping to hold it. And then here in child's pose, we'll take 2 rounds of box breath. I'll cue the first one and then give you the space to do the second one again on your own. I'm going to come up so that you can hear me. But as you are extended in child's pose, do a round of box breath. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale 4. Hold for 4. On your own. And return to even inhale, even exhale. Your next inhale, eyes up through tabletop. And just you're seated, bring your feet out in front of you, knees bent, feet on the mat. Place your hands behind you, or maybe more comfortable to come to your forearms. Up to you. And take some windshield wipers here. So take your feet out as wide as your mat. Deep breath in. And then as you exhale, allow both knees to fall to one side. Inhale up through center. And exhale the other side. Inhale up. And exhale down. And one more. Inhale up. And exhale. Come back through center. Walk yourself all the way down so that your back is on the mat. Knees stay bent, both feet on the mat. And continuing with some movement for our hips, let's take our right leg into figure 4. So right knee bends, right foot comes just above your left knee. You can stay here if you feel enough here. Keep the intention of your right knee moving towards the top corner of your mat, the bottom corner of your mat. Or you can interlace your hands behind your left hamstring or on top of your left shin. Still thinking of your right knee moving away from your body as your left knee's in. And as you resist that pull, feel your low back flatten. Move your shoulders away from your ears. Notice if you are clenching your jaw, squeezing your eyes. Notice if there is tightness anywhere. And see if you can send your breath there to help it release. On your next exhale, we'll take this to a twist. So your arms can come into a cactus or a T. And then let your legs fall over your body to the left side. Your right foot can land next to your left hip. Adjust your legs as is comfortable. They can either stay in this figure 4 shape or you can move to a more traditional twist. Allow the weight of your shoulders to be heavy on the mat. Your gaze can be up at the ceiling, over to the right. Then bring your attention to the sensation in your hip. Perhaps even allowing yourself to wonder, what are my fears? It is a big question. And sometimes we can feel so overwhelmed at the amount of them or the depth of our fears that we don't want to engage the question. Maybe tonight you can identify one thing. One more breath here. And exhale, release. Your legs back up. Place your right foot on the mat. Feel into both hips before you switch sides. Take a moment to push your feet into the mat. And then take your left leg into figure 4. Left knee bends, left foot comes just above your right knee. And allow the low back to widen. Left knee moves towards the corner of your mat. And either stay here or interlace hands, this time on your your right hamstring or right shin. Notice if the resistance is the same or different. as left knee moves towards the bottom of your mat and right knee pulls in. Feel in between the tension. Notice what happens to your spine. Again, move your shoulders away from your ears. And check in with your breath. One more breath in. And then we'll release this time. Extend your arms out to the side. And then let your legs cross over your body, this time to the right. Left foot can land near your right hip. Shoulders are heavy. Gaze up at the ceiling or over to the left. Return to your breath. One more breath in. And then slowly release. Come back to center. Place your left foot back on the mat and your arms down to your side. Then bring both knees in towards your chest. Squeeze them in. If it feels good to lift your chest and chin, feel free to do so. And then release. And allow yourself to come into your final resting pose. Extend your legs. Let your arms rest at your sides. Roll your shoulder blades underneath you to support you. Feel the rise and the fall of your belly. Bring your attention to your hips. Notice the sensations in your hips after lots of opening. And now a chance to rest. As you settle into your resting pose, again, bring your intention to mind. A few moments of silence here before our contemplation. When you're ready, go ahead and move into the posture you'd like to take for our contemplation. You may choose to stay on your back, or perhaps it's more comfortable to move to a chair or just seated on your mat. The purpose of movement, of asana, is to prepare us for meditation. We get that energy out. Think about how that is with children, to get our energy out so that we can be. And so we've done the beginning work and now have an opportunity to open up our imagination. So as we prepare to contemplate the angel's visit to Joseph, take a moment and set the scene. Joseph, a youngish Jewish man, is about to start the next phase in his life and enter into family life. He has a plan. Then he finds out that Mary, his betrothed, is pregnant. We can assume that he feels fear and anxiety at this news. And we see that he responds, it appears to be rather quickly, with another plan. He will divorce her quietly. We are assured that he is a righteous man. He wants to do good by her. But he makes his plan and has it set. How often are we just like Joseph? Something happens that changes our original plan, and we move to damage control rather than to our imagination. God was only able to reach Joseph in the quiet of his sleep, where the distractions of the world couldn't get to him. Here, in this place of sleep, a place where the imagination runs on its own, here is where God spoke to Joseph and where Joseph listened. How often do we resist going into that space of our imagination? The list of excuses can get long, and many are seemingly good reasons. Take a moment and see if you can recognize the barriers for turning to your imagination. Perhaps it's time, our to-do lists, fear of what we might discover. So let's take a moment and invite God to use our imagination, to allow us to hear and see and feel and touch this story with the grace of the Spirit guiding us, to ask God to speak to us as clearly as he spoke to Joseph, and to lead us to birthing new life in Christ. As I read through the gospel, allow your imagination to build the story. Use color and texture and smell, and see if you can find yourself somewhere in the story. Maybe you are Joseph, maybe you are the angel, maybe you're someone who's peeking in and observing. Maybe you're Mary, wondering what's going on for Joseph. But allow the Spirit to work with you as we listen to the story. This is how the birth of Jesus Christ came about. When his mother, Mary, was betrothed to Joseph, but before they lived together, she was found with child through the Holy Spirit. Joseph, her husband, since he was a righteous man, yet unwilling to expose her to shame, decided to divorce her quietly. Such was his intention when, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary, your wife, into your home. For it is through the Holy Spirit that this child has been conceived in her. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel, which means God with us. When Joseph awoke, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded him, and took his wife into his home. imagine the angel coming to you using your name. And finish this sentence. Do not be afraid because. What might the angel say to you? What newness might be waiting for you? Might God be inviting you to? As you reflect back on 4 weeks of engaging similar questions, going deeper, let yourself have a few moments to talk either directly to Jesus or maybe through the angel. Our God is a God of surprises, a God who recreates and invites us into that. And so let us be consoled this evening as we bring the Advent season one step closer towards Christmas. And remember that at the same time that we are encouraged to not be afraid, we are also invited to cast our anxieties on God because He cares for us. May the peace of Christ, which surpasses all understanding, be the peace that our hearts long for and desire, and the peace that we hope in and help make manifest in our own lives and in the lives of those around us. Take a moment to offer any intentions that you might have this evening. Remember, especially those without a home and those refugees, as this retreat supports the Jesuit Refugee Service. Those intentions in our hearts, knowing that we pray together, even though we are screens apart. Let's bring our hands together and inhale our prayers to the sky. And exhale. Thank you so much for sharing this Advent season with me. What a gift to be with you. I pray that it's a wonderful Christmas celebration for each of you. Love and peace, friends. Thank you so much, everybody. Wishing you a great Christmas.
Thanks, Kate.